What's going on, trappers? Welcome back to JWell Trap TV. If you want to help Tariq, Brayden, and I get Noma's profits, make sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, and put a notification bell so you know when I go live and make a new video. You wouldn't want me to end up like her. Let's go. Hello, all power viewers. We must come together for the passing of Lorenzo Tejada. He is survived by his wife and family, Monet Tejada, Drew Tejada, Diana Tejada, and Kane Tejada. Let's take a moment of silence to remember Zeke's killer. Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to JWell Trap TV. We are back with another episode of Power Book 2, Season 3, Episode 5. This episode is called No More Second Chances. And as you guys just seen, man, we took out Lorenzo. Oh man, we gotta talk about this. Let's get right into it so we can talk about it. Let's go. So we start this episode off with Jenny interviewing Monet inside of her house. We got Davis here, he's representing, and they are spinning the self-defense story that they came up with. So far, the story is airtight and the harassment claim is backing us up. Jenny asks Monet how she had time to get her gun before Whitman supposedly charged her, and Monet says that she heard Whitman's voice before Diana screamed and grabbed her weapon before approaching him. We also see that Davis has brought along Saxe. Saxe is working with Diana, and we also have Blanca there investigating too. Everybody up inside Monet's house this morning. After the cops leave, Davis tells Monet that everything should be coming back to normal by the end of today. He also tells her that she's now very hot and should be careful about her next few moves because she doesn't know who could be watching. He says to make sure the family's alibis are solid just in case they have to go to court, and Monet tells Davis that she got rid of Whitman's files. Davis says this was smart considering it is a stolen police file, and then Davis asks about Lorenzo. Monet says that Davis was right and she was jumping to conclusions, and now they are good. So now we switch to a class session. You know, I hate these class sessions. So here we are. We got Tate, he comes in, and it looks like behind the scenes that him and Dr. Bennett are still seeing each other. Tate starts talking about how the foundation of America is built on second chances, and we get into a whole debate, and you know, the class, I don't, you know, go watch the episode, guys. I'm not gonna cover the back and forth in the classroom. But there are some barbs traded between the classmates, and we do see a moment where Salim stands up for Diana. So hey, he's standing up for his woman. Monet saves the scene when she texts Tariq. She asks him to find out where International Guap was on the night of Zeke's murder. Class ends, and then Tariq approaches Tate, and he says that he has some information for him. He says he has some information that he can give to the feds. He tells him that the streets are saying that IG, International Guap, killed Zeke. He says it was a get-back kill for all the guaps that were taken out by the Tejada family. Tate says he'll pass this information along to the feds. And then he immediately texts Jenny and says he has something for her. We switch to a meeting at Weston Holdings with Lucas, Kiki, Tariq, RSJ, and Brayden. We're talking about investing in the emerging tech company Novanda. Lucas wants RSJ to meet the company and their primary executives before they get into bed with them. RSJ is interested in meeting them face to face and wants Tariq to come along to translate because he's the only one in the room who speaks Italian. Lucas says that Tariq is a new intern and this trip is a little too big for him. RSJ disagrees and pushes for Tariq to come. Lucas relents and says that Tariq has a bright future with the company and that he can come. Tariq says that he had plans with Effie though, and those might get in the way, and Kiki's like, I'm sure Effie will understand. Tariq says that Effie has an interest in robotics and she would love to come, and RSJ says, hey, you don't gotta sell me, so we got Effie coming too. RSJ also tells Lucas that he wants to meet with the Novanda folks alone and he wants him to stay back. He's saying that this will give him a better negotiating position down the line. As the meeting finishes, Tariq gets a text from Tate, and Tate calls him a motherfucking liar. So okay, I guess Tariq was fed him that information to give it to the feds to find out if International Guap really killed Zeke, but the feds must have told Tate that was impossible, and now Tate is getting mad at Tariq. So nice move, Tariq. Very smooth using Tate to confirm that murder. We switch to Tariq meeting up with Monet. He mentions that he knows that Whitman was killed in her house and that she's really hot and asks if she was followed here. Monet says that she never slips up like that and says that she's impatient and wants information from Tariq. Tariq lets Monet know that IG did not kill Zeke. He says that this information came from the best source it could and that IG was not in New York on the night of Zeke's death. We switch to Monet picking up Kane, and now she's pressing Kane. She asks Kane how he knows that IG killed Zeke. Kane says that Pops told him. Monet asks why she believed Pops, and Kane says, well, you know, Lorenzo isn't someone off the street. He has to take him at his word. Kane tries to cover for Lorenzo, and he says it makes sense because the Guaps probably came back to get Zeke for all the kills that the Tejadas made on the Guaps. We switch to Tariq, and RSJ on the tarmac, and Tariq is thanking RSJ for pushing to bring Tariq along on the trip. RSJ says he gets the sense that Tariq isn't one of Lucas's favorite interns, and Tariq says that Lucas is still looking at his past. Tariq also says that he has some info from Effie, from her robotics professor, that may help them in the meeting with Novanda. We see Effie walk up, and she is delighted to be here on the trip. We also see Brayden and Kiki rapping, and he's saying that he's gonna get some sleep so when they hit the ground in Italy, he can get ready to party. Kiki says he need to be focused on the meeting, and he shouldn't be looking to party. And Brayden says the party always comes to him, and he puts on his AirPods and he runs off. As he runs off, he drops his phone and she picks it up. And she starts to see that he's getting a bunch of crash coin deposits. So this is how Kiki is gonna find out what's going on with Brayden and the coffee scheme. We now switch to the cops and Saxe, and they are crying over a bottle of Jameson. Blanca is saying that Whitman's murder is on them and that they should have listened to Whitman. Ginny says that Monet killed him because he was onto something and whatever he had is gone now. Blanca starts suggesting that the Tejadas may have taken out a Russian connect to become the plug for the Castillos. Saxe thinks this is a big leap. Ginny wants to know who is supplying the Tejadas and thinks that Davis has to know something. She goes at Saxe and says that he needs to get her some evidence. They say if they don't close this case that they can all end up like Whitman. And I'm like, oh, please, come on. Whitman ran up in her house. He was way out of line. They do a toast to Whitman and we end the scene. We switch to Kane and Lorenzo. Kane is telling Lorenzo that Monet is onto him. He says that she knows that IG did not kill Zeke. Lorenzo says, does he really think it was me? Kane says, no, she doesn't think it's him because he didn't say anything. He didn't give up any information. But Lorenzo says, nah, you gotta watch out because Monet never really shows her full hand, and Kane should know that. Kane asks Lorenzo if he's thought about telling Monet. It was just an accident, right? Lorenzo says he can't tell her, that Monet will never forgive him. Kane says if she is figuring everything out, it's best for her to hear it from Lorenzo. Lorenzo asks Kane if he thinks it'll make a difference, and Kane says he thinks it does. Lorenzo says he thinks it doesn't. We switch to a sex scene with Gordo and Drew. Gordo interrupts the session because he gets a text, and Drew asks him what's wrong, and Gordo lets him know one of the rednecks they were shooting at is actually a criminal informant, and he's being moved to a nearby hospital. Drew is pissed and he's wondering how Gordo didn't know this guy that he was locked up with was a CI. This annoys Gordo and he says he knows his dad was a snitch, but that he isn't. And he says that he wouldn't even gone to the gun deal if he knew that there was a CI there. And he says, why would he even tell Drew about any of this anyway if he was a snitch? He would just clean it up by himself. Now Drew wants to help and he says if this guy really is a CI, he can take them all down. So he's in this now, and we end the scene. We switch to Monet going to Evelyn's diner. Evelyn greets her and says she heard what happened to Whitman, and Monet says that she isn't here for that. She starts talking about how she feels losing Zeke, and she tells Evelyn she knows how Evelyn must have felt when Frank went missing. Evelyn says she wished she knew what happened because it would bring her some peace. And Monet says she knows what happened. Evelyn's a little shocked. She says that's not what you said before. And Monet says she knows that, and that Lorenzo was the one who put out a hit on Frank because he heard that Frank was snitching. Now Evelyn's really shocked to hear this, and she asks Monet if she's just here to clear her conscience. Monet says she isn't here to clear her conscience, she just thought that she should know who was responsible. Evelyn says that Monet just gave her a valuable piece of capital that could change Monet's family forever, meaning that, hey man, you just pretty much told me I can come kill one of your peoples. And Monet says with losing Zeke, her family has already changed forever, and that she knows the consequences of telling her this information. But she's saying after Zeke's death, she couldn't sit with this information anymore and she had to tell her. Evelyn says she loved Frank, but she loves her kids even more, and that she's not gonna risk losing one for the sake of revenge. Monet says that's her choice and that she's more forgiving than she is. Monet says regardless of the outcome, that she doesn't want anyone to know about this conversation they just had, and she asks if she can trust her. And this is where it gets a little awkward, because Evelyn says Monet can trust her as much as she can trust Monet. So I thought that was, I've never, heard that, hey, can I trust you? I can trust you as much as you trust me. I thought that was kind of, I don't know, we'll see. So now we go to Milan, Italy, and we're meeting with the Novanda executives. And that's a terrible, terrible Italian accent. Don't do that again, J-Will. RSJ is telling them they have a good product, but in order for them to expand, they will need RSJ's help. Kiki says that Weston Holdings is able to position them like other tech companies in their portfolio for success. Novanda executives say if they're gonna give up 10% ownership, RSJ is gonna have to put his money where his mouth is. RSJ says he wants to help, but he's done his research and he knows that they have some patent issues and that their product isn't worth very much if they can't get a US patent. He says he can make these patent issues go away very easily. But then Kiki says to make these patent issues go away, instead of 10%, they want 20% ownership. Dang. And then RSJ says he can devalue their company by leaking their patent issues to the press. So at this point, he tells them if they don't give him a 20% ownership stake by the end of today, that he's gonna leak those details and their company's gonna become devalued. So this dude pretty much forced a takeover of their company. This dude RSJ has come a long way from being Chris Partlow on Wire, I can tell you that much. We go to Gordo and Drew. They are in murder gear and they are inside the hospital. They go to the floor where the CI is and they have to immediately back out because there's a bunch of DEA all over the floor. DEA jackets everywhere. It looks like the CI is in critical condition. It might die without their help. We go to Tariq and Effie and they are spending time in Italy. Tariq says he's liking the business side of things and he tells her that her patent research assisted with the deal. Effie says she can't believe they had to come all the way out to Italy to have their first date. She says surely the date doesn't have to end here, and then they start talking about what they're gonna do for the night. Tariq says they've been to the opera and fancy schwancy places a number of times. I haven't seen this. And he'd rather go back to the spot and chef it up and just spend some time together. Effie says that sounds boring. Tariq says spending time with the girl that he loves outside of all this drama going on in the world sounds amazing to him. Effie asks if this is future Tariq talking, and Tariq says no, this is Tariq living here and now, and he's promising her that eventually he will get out the game and go legit and they'll have a good life. Just as he's saying this, Noma and Obi walk up. They sit down and Tariq is like, what the hell are you guys doing here? Obi's like, oh, I thought you would have a better reaction to us coming. Turns out that Noma has a job for them. She wants Tariq and crew to recover a listening device that Mecca planted on a competitor. Obi asks Tariq and Effie if they've heard anything about Mecca's murder, said the police haven't found anything yet, and Tariq and Effie lie and say they don't know anything. Tariq asks about the listening device and Effie says that maybe she can intercept the signal and grab the audio file from the device. Obi says this is impossible based on where it's located. Nova says that it's in Francesco Lombardi's mansion. She says that he is an oil giant, but also a competitor arms dealer. She says that he was also Noma's ex, and he stole clients from her when they broke up. Dang, Noma got a lot of high-profile exes around here. Effie says all this sounds really personal. Noma says exactly, and this is why they need to succeed. Noma says that she can't get any of her people in, but if they use someone high-profile like RSJ, Tariq shouldn't have any problem getting on the guest list. She says that if Tariq fails, that there will be consequences as always. Okay, so looks like we're getting into some James Bond kind of shit. Gotta go sneak into the mansion and get the listening device. We go back to the hospital and it looks like the CI has passed away before Blanca could talk to him. Good news. An officer tells her that his personal belongings are downstairs with the hospital. Gordo and Drew hear this and they speed downstairs to recover the items before Blanca can. They pay the clerk and she's able to give them his personal effects. Just as they're leaving with the effects, Blanca comes in and she asks for Tucker's stuff. The clerk says that her family came to pick it up. So now Blanca's pissed. He didn't get that evidence. And it looks like Drew and Gordo got out. Drew and Gordo are outside. They're going through the phone and they see that there's pictures of Brayden, pictures of Lorenzo. They delete all the pictures. They take the phone apart, they destroy the SIM card, and they destroy the phone and dispose of it. So thank God we got to that information before the cops could. We go back to Francesco's party, and it looks like Tariq and RSJ are there. They're talking. RSJ is happy that Tariq brought him to the party. He says it was a good call, and he says that he has been impressed with Tariq. He says he would be lying if he didn't know Tariq's history, and he says that he's familiar with his father's story. Tariq said he didn't really know his father, that he had two different faces. RSJ said that his father was also a criminal, and everyone thought growing up that he would follow in his father's footsteps, but he chose not to, and he hopes that Tariq will do the same. So, okay, that's cool. RSJ trying to be a good mentor for Tariq. We switch over to Brayden and Effie, and they are searching for the listening device throughout Francesco's mansion. Brayden is able to find it in his library, but as he finds the device, he gets caught by Francesco's security. They take him away, and Effie comes in behind him and is able to secure the listening device, but she is almost caught too. And she has to seduce the guard and asks to see Francesco's private art collection. After seducing the guard, she is successful with escaping the room. We switch over to the Tejadas having a family dinner, and it looks like Diana's back in the fold. Lorenzo's here, he's at the head of the table. He's talking about how Monet loves his sancocho. We look over at Monet, and today it don't look like she's enjoying the sancocho at all. We get some good banter between the family, especially between Kane and Drew, and then Lorenzo asks Diana into the kitchen. He pours them some glasses of wine and they start talking. Diana says that she doesn't have all the memories growing up that Kane and Drew have of Lorenzo because he was in jail most of her life. But he says they're making up for the memories now. She asks, are they really making up for those memories? Because it feels like this is the first time they've actually sat down as a family and not have to discuss business. And she says, speaking of business, her manager is trying to catch on to her, and so she needs to stop, pushing weight at Stanfield. Lorenzo says that growing up, he never wanted to sell drugs and that he wanted to be a baseball player. And he says that he's gonna pull the plug on Diana's operation and he's gonna work with Kane to do something else. This makes Diana really happy, and she says, thank you, Poppy. Really good scene between those two. We go to Brayden, and he's being interrogated by Francesco's people for spying. Francesco pops up and he asks Brayden who he works for. Brayden says he got it all wrong and he's not budging. Since he won't talk, they continue beating him down, and we switch scenes. We switch to Tariq and Effie, and they are back at their hotel They're frantically trying to call Brayden, but he isn't answering the phone. There's a knock at the door and it turns out it's Kiki. He's here looking for her man. Effie and Tariq say that Brayden's still at the mansion, and Effie gets a little spicy. She's all like, oh, are these appropriate work hours for you to be looking for Brayden? She don't know that they're together. Kiki doesn't bite onto the spiciness, and she says that she hopes she sees all three of them in the lobby tomorrow. Effie and Tariq go back inside, and Tariq grabs a listening device and he says that he's gonna have to use it as leverage to get Brayden back. So your boy Tariq loved Brayden, man. You see it all over and over. He could have just left that dude behind. We go to the Tejada house, and Monet is outside drinking. Gordo walks up, says hello, and he apologizes for not coming to Zeke's funeral. They start talking about grief, and Monet asks Gordo if he's here for Drew. Gordo says yes, and it looks like Monet already figured out they're together, and she says, hey, don't hurt my son. Monet asks Gordo if the grief ever goes away, and Gordo says it comes and it goes, and he says that if he ever had the chance, that he would slit the throat of the person who killed his father. Monet says that she would do the same thing for the person that killed Zeke. Where we going with this, y'all? We go to Davis and he's reviewing those Whitman files. Saxe walks up and he puts the files away. Saxe drops that unredacted Theo Rollins file on Davis's desk, and he says that we can probably get this guy out, that the police, the prosecutors, they overstepped, and we can get this dude out. Davis is super excited. He gets up, he puts his key for his filing cabinet under his laptop, and he tells Saxe, hey, let's go and tell Theo the good news. As they're going, Saxe says that he's gonna stay behind and start filling out the paperwork, because if the paperwork doesn't get done, that Theo can't get out. And Davis says, all right, cool. And he decides to leave to go let Theo know what's going on. Saxe goes back into Davis's office, he finds that key, he goes into the file, and he finds Whitman's partial fingerprint report, and then he goes like, dang. And then he immediately texts Jenny that he found this report. So goddamn it, Saxe, goddamn Davis, why didn't you take your own advice? You told Monet to destroy that file, and then you kept it. You should have destroyed it too. Now Saxe is gonna use it against you, man. And now it's stolen. Now you're implicated. They can use this against you. So Saxe tells Jenny the news, and she texts that she can't meet, and this pisses Saxe off. So now we switch to Effie and Tariq. They're in Italy, and they're meeting up with Francesco's crew. It looks like they're trying to save Brayden. Francesco is here, and Tariq says if he wants the listening device back, that he's going to have to give up Brayden. Francesco lets Brayden go, and as Tariq gives him the listening device, he grabs his hand, and he puts a gun to Tariq's head. He starts asking him who he works for, if he works for Mecca. And then next thing you know, Francesco and his whole crew get taken out by Noma's people. Noma walks out, and she is thankful that Tariq was able to lead Francesco out into the open so she can take him out. We see that Noma has snipers on the hills, yards away. I'm like, okay, this girl is a savage. She's stacked. Noma takes the listening device away from Tariq, and she tells him that he's more clever than she thought. She says the trial period is now complete, and Obi's like, not happy to hear this. He totally wanted to kill Tariq. And she says now that she's gonna be expanding with Francesco's business she's taking over, and moving forward, everyone's gonna have a bright future because they're gonna be moving more weight for her. So Tariq doesn't look too happy to hear this information. We switch to Saxe. He's watching Jenny walking out of a building. He calls her, watches her. She looks at her phone, sees it's Saxe, and ignores the call and gets into her car. So this pisses him off, and then he begins to follow her. We switch back to Tariq and Effie in the lobby at their hotel. Tariq is still looking pretty moody about the whole Noma situation. Effie says that they should be happy to get out alive out of Italy, and Tariq says, yeah, but now Noma owns them forever. Effie says that she might have a way out. She shows Tariq a picture of a painting she found inside of Francesco's art collection. It's a picture of Francesco, Noma, and their daughter. Effie says that they can get to their daughter, they can put leverage on Noma to get out of her organization. Tariq says they gotta be careful because if this is true, Noma's a savage for killing the father of her daughter. RSJ and crew come down and they say the car is ready and they're ready to go. As everyone's leaving, we see Kiki but with no Brayden. Hopefully they're still good. We switch over back to the Tejada house, and now we just got Lorenzo and Monet in a nice Da Vinci gown. Lorenzo goes over to give Monet a hug, and she kind of shakes him off. And he goes like, what's wrong? And she says, oh, I'm just upset because when Whitman died, the cops did this full, thorough investigation. But when Zeke died, they didn't care and they chalked it up to gang activity. Lorenzo hears this and he says that he needs to tell Monet something. He says that he made a horrible mistake. He says he went to Mecca's hangar on the night of Zeke's death when Monet didn't show up. Monet says that Lorenzo wasn't supposed to be at that hangar and that she was never running off with Mecca. Lorenzo says that he wasn't sure. Lorenzo says he wasn't sure and he wanted to kill Mecca because he believed that Mecca was breaking up his family. And he finally confesses to accidentally shooting Zeke. He says that he never meant to hurt Monet's son and that it was a total accident. Monet sucks the shit out of this dude. And she says, accident? All these months you didn't tell me it was an accident? She said she was going crazy, couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. Great performance by Mary J. Blige right here, bro. Great performance. Lorenzo reasons with her. He says that she brought Zeke here, that she didn't prepare Zeke for this kind of life. And then she slept with Mecca and brought him back into their lives and screwed things up. And Monet hits him again and asks, are you trying to put all this on me? And Lorenzo says that it's on both of them, that they were both moving messy and that he made a mistake and that if she loves him, that she can forgive him. Monet says she hates him and that all that love died when he killed Zeke. Lorenzo then asks, what about their family? What about everything they built? And Monet says, out of respect for the kids, she isn't gonna put a bullet in him right now, but that he needs to get out of the house by tonight. She says they will tell the kids that they are separating. Lorenzo tries to reason with her, but she breaks the glass against the wall and yells, get out. So yeah, man, he was right. Telling her was not a good plan. It did not go well at all. But you know, how was it supposed to go? Waited a long time to tell her, waited months to tell her. And this is Mary J. Blige. This is Monet we talking about, man. You know, Monet wasn't gonna take that information well. You know, and I thought, you know, I think it was the right thing to tell her, but it just at this point there was just nothing. You know, she's killed that guap. You know, people have died over this shit. We go to Saxe following Jenny, and Jenny makes it to her house. She goes in to go see Lauren. Saxe follows, but the guard tries to stop him. Jenny comes out and she's upset that Saxe followed her. Said, is this about your obsession? Are you this jealous? He wants to know what she is hiding. He wants to know who's in the house. He says that he has been open and honest with her and that he's risking his legal career. He says that if she doesn't tell him, that he's done with her. Done. And she says, or I can have you removed. So she don't even care about anything. She don't care about anything she and Saxe been doing. None of that shit. We see that Lauren is watching and Saxe is hurt. He asks her if she felt anything. Jenny says that she's about putting bad people away. And then Lauren comes out. Saxe sees Lauren and he says that Jenny portrayed him, that he manipulated him and Lauren, and he says he's done. Lauren asks if this is true, if she's really being manipulated. And Jenny tries to smooth this all out, but they start to remove Saxe and Saxe yells to Lauren that Tariq did not order a kill on her, that Tariq loved her, and that he was really sad when he found out that she died. We switch over to the Tejadas and we got Drew, Kane, Diana, and Monet. They're about to start playing some spades. They're waiting for Poppy, but he is not here yet. They ask Monet if she knows where he is, and Monet says no, that he must be late, but when he gets here, that they have something that he can tell them. We switch to Tariq. He's laying down in the bed with Effie. He gets a text on his phone from Lauren's number. No name on the number, but she says to meet him by the south gate at Stanfield. Tariq goes out there and then Lauren pops out. She got a hood on and she got a box cutter. Tariq is shocked. He's like, whoa. He wants to know what the hell she's doing here. She tells Tariq that Brayden gave her to Effie. Effie knocked her out and dumped her in a river. She thinks that Tariq ordered this kill, and Tariq is like, whoa, he's totally blindsided. He says, no, they lied to him that he would never try to hurt her. He says that he's about to go talk to them right now. She stops him and says that they cannot know that she's alive, and Tariq asks where she's been at, and she says she's been with the feds. She says they're building a case on him, and Tariq says, and you're the witness. And she says, listen, Tariq, if you're telling the truth, then you have a lot more to worry about than me and the feds. So I'm like, oh my God, she's still kind of, you know, she's still kind of on the side of snitching. Tariq hears this and he goes back into his dorm. Effie wakes up and she asks if he's okay. And Tariq says that he went out for a walk. Effie says that she's been trying to tell him something, but she feels like things have been getting in the way. Tariq says, what's up? And she still can't tell him. She like looks and then she lays down on him. And she says, I love you too. Tariq looking around like, what the fuck, man? He must know now what she want to talk about. So now we switch over to Lorenzo. He's outside of Monet's bar. He's coming out. He looks like a little tipsy. He looks like he's been having a few drinks, you know, especially after, you know, that conversation they just had with Monet earlier. You know, I'm sure he, you know, went behind the bar and didn't pay. So he notices there's a nail stuck in his tire. He takes the nail out and he goes into his trunk to grab a spare. But as he's grabbing the spare, suddenly his throat slit from behind. He collapses and he crawls to the sidewalk. And the next thing you know, we see Gordo come out and he like, bleed, bitch. This is for what you did to my dad. He got like a little Michael Jackson voice. He walks away and he texts someone. And then we switch back to the Tejada house. They're playing cards. Monet gets a text and it says, this is done. You guys gotta check out my reaction above. The text says, it's done, thank you. And she looks back at the family and she smiles. Guys, that's the end of the episode. Guys. So we got Monet. See, I was thinking maybe Evelyn told Gordo. But it turns out it looks like Monet was looking for anyone to go kill him. And after she found out that it was for sure him, she went and told Gordo, but it seemed like she was hoping maybe Evelyn would go put two together and kill Lorenzo. But now Gordo, she went and grabbed Gordo to do it. Jesus Christ, man. And she even told him that, you know, they were just gonna separate and have him get out of New York. But instead, she had to drop that body. And I tell you guys, Monet don't play about these bodies, y'all. Y'all cross Monet. Monet is one of the most dangerous people on the show because it's emotional. It don't even get smart. It just gets, oh, I'm killing him. Because look, now she gotta live with this family, bro. She gotta live with this family. Now let's talk about this some more. So, based on last episode, when I seen, Lorenzo getting closer with Kane, and then when we got the, the fingerprint report, I kind of seen this coming. I didn't think it would be this soon, but we just got Whitman last episode. Now we got Lorenzo this episode. This is even bigger than that. It's sad that, he got killed immediately after he got on this redemptive path. He never wanted to kill Zeke. It wasn't like he was like, I'm about to go kill Zeke. He didn't know what was going on with this whole mecha situation. He was being kept in the dark, a lot of messy stuff going on. Monet, flying with this dude and, helicopters, airplanes, hanging out on the yacht. Come on, man, he was upset. I hear him when he says Monet was partly to blame because she was moving, wasn't telling him nothing. Now, he did come back when he got out of jail with a heavy hand, trying to take her out the game and telling her to go make him breakfast and whatnot. And he never really did care for Zeke, And when he found out that, that was, her son, he was really upset. But I do feel like he felt some true remorse for killing Zeke, though. I do feel like he thought that was a mistake, even though he pursued Mecha out of jealousy. Now, with all this said about Lorenzo, when the kids find out about this, I'm telling you, Kane will probably be the first to put 2 and 2 together. And when he finds out that Gordo made the kill, Gordo's gonna get killed by Kane. I don't know how he's gonna react to his mom. I don't know where that's gonna go. Usually they're pretty tight, and we've seen them get split up before. But now, it's not Kane making the mistake, it's Monet making the mistake. But I don't think Monet's gonna look at it as a mistake. Diana is also not gonna take this well. As you guys can see, she's very, very close with her father. She was the one who got him out. She's been getting really close, and she was just talking about how she wants to make new memories with him. And it's just sad, especially that's who I feel for the most in this situation, Diana. Not sure how Drew's gonna feel, he's always loved his dad. I think when he finds out Gordo made the kill, though, that might be over. This is definitely, the big event that Courtney Kemp talked about those years ago, that was going to split this family up and put them on different sides of each other. I don't know what else it could be at this point. These kids love their father, and for Monet to kind of go and make this decision without talking to them about it, it's definitely I can't see what else is gonna split it up. So let's switch over to Tariq now. So Tariq is getting even deeper in with Noma. She's gonna try to make him move more guns and product now that she took over Francesco's business. Effie thinks they have a way out with her daughter, but that's probably gonna take some time. I don't know if that'll work. I don't know if that's gonna work out before the end of this season. I'd be really surprised if they get out in 5 episodes. The big thing though is Tariq finally knows that Lauren is alive, that Effie was the one who tried to kill her, and Brayden wasn't honest either. There's definitely gonna be some trust issues between this group going forward. Speaking of Brayden, shout out for holding it down, buddy. You got interrogated, you got interrogated, but you didn't give nothing up. All right, guys, you know what it is. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, put on notification bell so you know when I go live or make a new video. All right, guys, we're gonna come out with some shorts this week. I'll see you guys next week for the next episode. All right, peace.